Hello and welcome to Center Ice Cardcast, your one-stop podcast shop for all things hockey cards. My name is Eric Andrews, also known in the hobby as Hammerhawks, and I'm joined by my co-host and fellow hobbyist Aaron Goldstein, better known in the hobby as Crease Collector. So before getting into the main part of the episode, Aaron actually brought up a really good topic idea for us to talk about, not super in-depth, but just kind of to briefly talk on it since it is kind of a hot button topic in the hockey world, in the NHL world, but then also it has implications for cards. And then I'll show off some new pickups as well before getting into that main part of the episode that, as you can tell based on the title, is 22-23 Upper Deck Tim Hortons. So, Aaron, if you want to take it away with our opening topic.
Will do. So, jersey ads are here and I hate them. Like, I know that I'm not alone. I know there are others out there who just don't mind it at all. They don't even notice it, but I hate it so much. It just really just grinds my gears. It's awful. I mean, like we kind of all knew that this was coming when they introduced, the helmet ads, and you just knew that it was only a matter of time before, jersey ads just became a thing. So they're officially here this season. I'm gonna just hate to see them like every game. It's gonna be the worst. But I don't want to beat this too much because it's been talked to death and we're a hockey card podcast. I don't want to bring in too much, pure hockey talk, but this does have some implications when it comes to us, collectors and how we view some cards moving forward. Because I could see maybe not in every set, but we could have some weird corporate sponsorships, on cards in the very near future. And I wanted to talk about it because do collectors like are they going to appreciate these things in their collection? I mean, I really don't know. It's kind of a weird thing because if there are any hockey fans like me out there, I think the vast majority does not like jersey ads at all. But in terms of collecting, I could see these things maybe not surpassing, say, a big logo patch or anything, but I could totally see these things being quite popular on cards. It's one of those weird things where some people will avoid it, but other people, I think they're really gonna, depending on the sponsorship, obviously, and the player. It always depends on the player, I think, but depending on the patch, I think people could really, in terms of the card collecting community, really kind of maybe smaller in number, but band together in a way. And, I think some of these cards could be for, quite the bidding war, I think. I mean, like we talked about RBC with the Canadians and obviously the Maple Leafs, Ontario Dairy Farmers, the milk patch. It's like hilarious. And I would just love to see, maybe like a premier, like mega patch, milk, jersey patch. I think that'd be hilarious. And I think there'd be honestly quite the market for that, even though on a hockey point of view, everyone kind of just hates it. So, I mean, just an interesting topic. And I just wanted to, bring it up really quickly and just bring it up on the podcast. I even had a quick little, Instagram poll of what people want, what they think about these jersey ads and will they collect them. And I think it was like very close to like a 50-50 split. I think not collecting them won out, but not by much. I think it was very even as far as the collector point of view. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. And yeah, crazy times in the NHL. Jersey ads, unreal.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting conversation for sure. I mean, it's, like you said, probably something that most people saw coming, even though it might be disappointing to most people. Like you mentioned, I'm very much on the same train of thought as you, Aaron. I don't like it. I'm kind of a purist when it comes to jerseys. So the fact that they are being added on is unfortunate. Thankfully, it is, done in that AHL style, so to speak, where it's just the one sponsor patch and that's it. And it sounds, at least like as of right now, that that's kind of the plan for it. They're not wanting to go to multiple sponsors on a jersey, so that's good. But I just wanted to go through the list of teams that are doing it because it's not everybody. It's actually less than half of the league, thankfully. So most teams will not have it, at least as of right now or for this season. Obviously, that could still change. But as of right now, the teams that are doing it, we have the Arizona Coyotes only on their home jerseys. the Columbus Blue Jackets on all of their jerseys, the Minnesota Wild on their jerseys, the Montreal Canadiens on only their home jersey, Pittsburgh on only their home jersey, St. Louis on all of their jerseys, Toronto on their jerseys, Vegas on only their home jersey, which, in case you haven't heard, is their gold jersey this year. They are switching to wearing the gold jerseys at home, and the original gray jersey is now an alternate for Vegas. So, just something interesting to note there. And then Washington on their dark jerseys, so the jerseys that they would wear at home, and Winnipeg on both of their jerseys. So you might hear some of those and say, why are some teams only doing them at home? Why only on dark jerseys? There are kind of some stipulations with that. Like using Washington specifically, their sponsor is a company called Caesars Sportsbook. So obviously that's a sports gambling organization. So essentially how that kind of works is the NHL didn't want a gambling advertisement on a jersey for, say it's a white away jersey. They didn't want that in a location on the road that maybe in that state sports gambling isn't legal. So that's why you see, for Vegas, for Washington, that those are kind of limited just to the things that they wear at home. So that's kind of an interesting thing to note there. But yeah, just wanted to kind of go through that just so you guys are familiar with which teams are going to have them. And, obviously, as far as the look, some of them blend in really nicely, some of them do not. I would say the one that might blend in the best might actually be Vegas because it's a gray logo on their gold jersey. So it just, not that it like just totally blends in, but it's kind of hard to pick it out unless you're looking fairly closely. Like you might see that something is there, but you don't just, it's not in your face like some of them are. Obviously, in my opinion, the worst one would be the Montreal Canadiens with the RBC. The blue just obviously pops off the red jersey, and then the yellow on top of that just obviously doesn't really work with the Canadians. So just kind of interesting to think about who's doing what and kind of what implications that has for their look. As far as my thoughts on kind of turning it to cards, I can see some people saying, oh, I don't want just some random branding on this patch. Like I want it to feel like a patch card of that team, which is understandable. I can also, on the flip side, see someone say it is a Canadiens patch and you get one of those RBC patches. It's like, oh, you don't see yellow on a Canadiens card. Like that's just something different, gives you that variety. Maybe that might be intriguing to a Canadiens collector or a player collector or whatever it might be, just to kind of give a little bit more variety to your collection. And one other thing I wanted to note too, and I find this very interesting, I can't remember who it is, but I know there is a collector out there that specifically collects sponsor patches like this. And he did it in the past with all the CHL stuff. So, for
It's like
example,
the Subway series because I've
yep,
always thought
yep,
those patches were really cool, actually, and very collectible.
yeah, exactly. So that's a perfect example. He would, in between the pipes or heroes and prospects, whichever product he might find one from, if there was a Subway Super Series patch and it had part of the Subway logo on it, he would collect that. Or, whatever, if a Canadian junior team was sponsored by Bell Tire or whatever, and there was a Bell Tire patch, he would collect those cards. So whatever it might be, he would, that was a very specific part of his collection. It wasn't the only thing he collected, but it was a very specific part of his collection that he went very hardcore after trying to find as many different, sponsorship logo patches as possible. So, there definitely will be a market for them. And one other thing too, if I'm just thinking even about myself, now Carolina, as of right now, does not, have any sponsor for their jerseys, but obviously that could change. So let's suppose down the road that they get them and Jacob Slavin has patch cards and there are copies of a card that have this sponsorship patch and some that don't. I'm probably going to be more drawn to the sponsorship patch compared to like a just a generic like number patch or something, just because the number is something you see all the time. It's not, that's probably the most common type of patch that you're going to get. So it's just not overly interesting in the grand scheme of things. Whereas if you got a sponsorship patch, maybe it might only be two colors in some cases compared to maybe a number patch might be 3 colors. But just that kind of, to me, that sense of this is something different, more unique, obviously more scarce. The sponsorship patches are much smaller on the jersey than the number would be, or even the logo, or a nameplate, whatever it might be. Now, obviously, I would rather take a chest logo or a shoulder patch or something over a number patch, of course. So then it's kind of like, well, where's the sponsorship logo fit in on that that spectrum? I don't know yet. It's kind of just going to be a case by case type of thing, but at least to me, I can see that, there could be some desirability there, especially if it is a more unique patch that you're getting. If it's just the edge of something and has, just a little bit and it's nothing overly interesting, then it might not, garner that much attention or draw much of a premium. But if it is a more unique piece, like even for the Canadians with RBC, if it's the whatever it is, like the dragon head or whatever, like that would obviously be a pretty cool patch to have, in my opinion. Even if it has literally nothing to do with the Canadians, it's still just a cool piece. So I could kind of see it going both ways. I think it largely is going to depend on what the piece actually is, as far as, what kind of an effect that might have on the desirability and value of the card. But yeah, I think it's a very interesting conversation for sure. And I'm glad that you brought it up. So then transitioning into the next part of the episode, I've gotten a few cooler and more notable things in the mail of late. So just want to make note of some of those. I'll keep it to 4 things this time just to try to keep it quick and simple, straightforward. First one, this was a really fun one. A lot of you guys know that in the past and even still to varying degrees today, Aaron and I are very, big proponents of card forums online. And I had someone contact me on Twitter a little while ago and just said, "Hey, man, like, I don't know if you remember who I am, but, I remember you and just wanted to connect because I have something that I think you might want." And, so he told me what his username was. And I immediately was like, oh, yeah, like, I definitely remember interacting with this guy. And this is probably going back like 10 years or so, like 8, 10, 12
Yeah,
years
that sounds
even.
about right. Like I kind of
So
knew who you were talking about, and yeah, that timeline sounds about right.
yeah, so I mean, it's just funny that all of these years later, someone can reach out to you and you can immediately just be like, "Oh yeah, like I totally remember you, remember, interacting and stuff." And long story short, like I said, he reached out because he had a card that he thought I might be interested in, and I'll show off the card first, and then we can kind of unpack the story a little bit more in a second here. But it is, of course, something that I was interested in. We were able to work something out pretty easily. A 2020-21 Upper Deck Premier Mega Patch of Nicholas Chalmerson.
Nice. Another add to the stash right there.
Yes. So, like I said, obviously he remembered me and he in the message was like, "Hey, do you still collect Nicholas Chalmerson? Because I remember back in the day you did, and I just happened to pull this card and wanted to see if it was something that you would be interested in." And I just thought that was the coolest thing that all these years later, he remembers me, remembers that I collect Jalmerson, and immediately thought, I got to reach out to you and see if it's something that you want. And what's even kind of crazier too is he actually ended up getting out of the hobby. I forget how many years ago he said, but probably like 5-ish years ago, 6 years ago, something like that, and sold off all of his collection and everything, was not collecting whatsoever. And then, whatever, like a month or so ago, said that he and his dad went to a card shop and they bought a box of Upper Deck Premier just for the heck of it. And lo and behold, he pulls that card and thinks of me, and we work out a deal. So it was just a really, really cool and fun story, and obviously really great to reconnect with him. Shout out to Tyler for those who were on the forums back in the day or still are today. His username was Osgood and Mason. Obviously, he collected those guys and liked those guys, but he was probably most known for collecting TJ Oshie. So a lot of you guys might know him from that. But it was just really cool to reconnect. And obviously, like I said, really meaningful that he just immediately thought of me and wanted to make sure that that card got in the right hands. So again, Tyler, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Super fun getting to catch up and work out a deal for that card. And then moving on to the next one, this is kind of another interesting story, I would say. This is a card that I thought existed, but wasn't really entirely sure because I'd never seen one. And that's not super common for modern cards. A lot of the time it's just like, yeah, that card exists. It's out there somewhere. I've never seen it, but it's out there. So I just kind of thought, yep, I know it's a rare card for whatever reason, just haven't seen one. And that being the 2019-20 SP Authentic Black parallel of Jacob Slavin. And what's interesting about this card is I was under the impression that it was not an autograph card because typically how it works for the black parallels for the veterans and SP Authentic is if you had a base limited auto, so not a patch, just a base limited auto, then your black would also be an auto. If you didn't have a limited auto, then your black parallel would not be a signed card. It would just be a black base card. So he did not have a limited auto in 1920 SP Authentic. He was in the base set, but he didn't have a limited auto. He actually had a limited auto patch. So I thought, okay, he doesn't have a limited auto, so his black is just an unsigned black parallel. So they're out there. I just haven't seen them. I know they're rare. There's probably only a handful of them, whatever, give or take. And for whatever reason, I just haven't seen one. No big deal. And then fast forward to, I don't know, it's probably sometime in September. This card pops up on eBay. And I immediately threw out an offer to the seller, and he accepted, and we got the sale done and everything. And I got the card. And, I messaged him and said, hey, I'm just curious. Did you pull this card from 1920 or did you pull it from 2021? Because interestingly, he actually had limited auto updates for 1920 in 2021, which is very interesting because he's never had a redemption card in his life. He's always very good about signing and returning cards in a timely fashion. So all of his stuff is always live in the product. And like I said, he had those limited auto patches in 1920. So just a base limited auto was never even, on my radar. And then those were in 2021 as an update. So that kind of, tipped me off of like, was this also an update that was in 2021? So I reached out to the seller and asked him, he's like, yeah, like I pulled it out of a box of 2020-21 SP Authentic. And I was like, okay, that now makes a lot more sense why I never saw any of them because they weren't out there yet. So yeah, cool that all this time later was able to track down a copy of this card, and even better that it is autographed. Just absolutely love the look of these cards. The gold rainbow foil combined with all of the black on the card just looks so sharp, and obviously the gold ink on the autograph is just a phenomenal look to go with the rest of the card.
It's awesome, and the story to go along with it is very cool as well. Like, does it exist? Who knows? And then all of a sudden it comes out of there as an update card, and that's just really really cool. Yeah, you can see that nice shine effect there on the card, in like in between the little design elements there. Very cool. So great card. I've always been a really big fan of those short printed cards, like whether it's the base one or the autograph versions. I think they're just really cool either way. So glad you were able to finally add one of those. Finally, after that much time. I mean, it must have been just crazy just waiting that long. I mean, like we've all been there, but it's always cool to kind of, shut the book on cards like those. Very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And all that time thinking that it was an unsigned card that just for whatever reason was not appearing, kind of started getting to that point of like, okay, if I haven't seen one after 2 years, am I ever gonna see one? Like,
Was it meant to
maybe.
be signed? Like the bottom part of the card looks like it was designed to be signed. I'm just wondering,
Yep.
like on the back, like could it have been, a base card and then he signed it? But I doubt it. But I'm just
No,
wondering.
no, they were totally
Okay,
meant to be. It's just
okay.
just the whole thing of why he had these updates is what kind of throws me off because
And
they,
then it was an autograph version, which
yeah,
technically it shouldn't have been. So just a really cool story there.
yeah, because typically, not all, I mean, there are some guys, but typically, like I said, you either have a limited auto or a limited auto patch. You typically don't have both. So that's what really threw me off because he had those limited auto patches that were live in 1920 SP Authentic. So the fact that he could even have just a basic limited auto never even occurred to me because, he had the limited auto patch. He's never had a redemption card in his life. So I just, that was never even a thought. And then bam, there it is. So, obviously immediately made a lot more sense once I saw it and heard the story behind it and everything. So just really cool there. And I got a pretty nice price on it as well. I forget what it was, like 30 or 40 bucks or something, which for, the scarcity of this card and, being SP authentic and everything, I thought that was an extremely good deal in my opinion. So, and still the only one I've seen. So who knows if, how many or if there are others out there, who knows?
Yeah,
So
with updates, you never really know. It could have been a production issue. They had to send out maybe not as much, had to send some out late, could have been returned late. There's many different reasons why updates are updates. So I mean, who knows how many there are out there? But I mean, definitely, even if the full print, who knows how many there are, but just not many to begin with. So very cool card either way.
yeah, especially because back in 1920, those were still Easter egg cards. I believe 2020-21 was the first year where they had formally announced the black parallels as just existing. So yeah, I mean, this was always an Easter egg, and then it's an update Easter egg, the whole nine yards. It's just kind of an interesting backstory on it. But obviously very excited to have that card in the collection for sure. Moving on to the next one, this is kind of something that you might see and say, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense for his collection, but also not something that I would typically just go after. This is a card that I'd seen on Facebook kind of floating around for a little while, and thought like, oh yeah, that's kind of a cool card, but didn't really ever think much of it. And then kept seeing it, kept seeing it, kept seeing it. And I was like, I'm gonna reach out to the guy and just see if we can figure something out. And he was looking for Eric Lindros cards for his collection. And if you guys remember at the National last year, I pulled an auto jersey of Lindros out of my in the game used box and figured, okay, that's not a card I'm totally glued to. It's a cool card to have, but it's not a must have by any means. And not that Lindros signs like a ton of stuff. I mean, his autograph is still somewhat hard to get, but not terribly hard to find either. And he does sign a lot for Leaf too, so that kind of factors into that as well. But the card that I ended up getting is just something you don't see every day. So that's kind of what initially drew me to it and then led me to make the deal. So it was just straight up one for one deal. I traded away the Eric Lindros auto jersey card from In the Game Use, which I kind of valued at like 7,500 bucks US, somewhere in that ballpark. And in exchange, got this incredibly cool card. It's a President's Choice card and was kind of interesting. It was intended for the 2020 Spring Expo, which obviously never happened. So then this was inserted into one of Dr. Price's kind of like, warehouse cleaning type of boxes. I forget what they're called, like President's Choice fourth edition or whatever.
Yeah,
Kind
those
of just,
updates and
yeah,
yeah,
just a
like I think they call
generic
them like
type of
updates or
product.
something.
Yeah, generic product just to kind of move out old inventory. So that's how this card ended up getting out onto the market since the expo didn't happen that year, like I said, for obvious reasons. So kind of cool just in that regard too. But again, like I said, something you don't ever see every day. It is a jumbo stick of Bill Barilko.
Well, I'm a fan, big fan. Yeah, definitely. Up here in Canada, obviously he's a legend, for obvious reasons. Yeah, just a great piece. Like every time I see Barilko stuff, it's always like, that's really cool. So, I mean, for you to get one, for me, it was kind of surprising to see you get one, but obviously anyone kind of owning cards like that, it kind of just makes sense. So that's just super cool. And
Yeah,
obviously, like being, a 2020 Expo card makes it like I think that much cooler because you can kind of look back on it and it's like, where were you? Like where were you at this point in history, kind of thing, and it's going to bring back a lot of maybe not great, but it's going to bring back some memories, of 2020. So yeah.
for sure. Yeah, and like I said, kind of the uniqueness of the card. You don't see Barilko memorabilia out there a ton for obvious reasons. It's out there, but it's just not as common as someone like a Beliveau or a Richard or other guys from that era. Obviously, he just doesn't have as much stuff out there, so it's unique in that sense. But also, you just don't see Barilko pieces that are that large. And again, a lot of that goes back to the fact that his memorabilia is just naturally more scarce. So companies aren't wanting to make huge memorabilia pieces of him because they want to try to conserve it as much as possible. So that's really what stuck out to me is just the fact that this is a huge piece. It might not be the most exciting card, he's not pictured on the card, whatever things you want to point out about the card that might, be a turnoff to some people, but just the fact that it's such a big piece, just immediately caught my eye and just makes it inherently a really cool card. And yeah, just something that I thought, you know what, I don't have any Baroque memorabilia, so I'm gonna grab it. Maybe I keep it, maybe I don't. I don't know, but to me, it's a more interesting card than a somewhat standard Eric Lindros auto jersey card that you can fairly easily replace. So that was kind of my rationale behind it. Just a really cool card. Like I said, again, not something you see every day. So that's that one. And then the final one, Aaron does not know about this one, of course. That's kind of how we do things around here. Though I guess you actually did know about those first three cards already. But this one, very much, I would say, kind of like a spontaneous type of pickup. Obviously, some of you guys are well aware at this point that I have had boxes of 2003-04 Topps Pristine. And I actually sold one of those fairly recently to a guy that does some group breaking. He really wanted to get a box of it to do. He does like a weekly Throwback Thursday type of group break, and he really wanted a box of it for that. So I was like, okay, like, I would prefer to break these myself for you guys on the podcast and everything, and just go that way. But you really want one, and you're willing to pay a fair price, in my opinion, to do it. So sure, I'll sell you one box. Let's do it. And it was actually kind of cool. He ended up pulling a Marc-Andre Fleury, just one of the basic rookie cards. So at least they did end up getting something, notable. So that was good. But, kind of the more I was thinking about it, like, okay, if I just sold this box, like now I have all these, all this money that came from it, which is great, but my mind kind of got going of, okay, you pay all this money for a box of this stuff. And yes, you're getting a lot of really nice cards, but you're probably not going to get like one of the best cards in the product. It's certainly possible someone has to do it, but the odds of that aren't great. So the wheels kind of started turning like, okay, what are some of like the best cards in this product that you can get? And, I already have the Flurry Gold Refractor. So in my opinion, that's the best card in the product, is the standard rookie card in the Gold Refractor version. That to me is the best card in the product. And kind of along with that, his other gold refractors, Bergeron's gold refractors, those are all kind of in that same category. So, for me, it's like, okay, for the base parallels, I have the best one of that. And then you guys might remember I got the JS Shiger mini auto, and have that in my personal collection. So it's like, okay, so now I have the best parallel, I have the best autograph. So that's kind of an interesting thing. So then I got thinking, well, what's the best memorabilia card in the product? So I started digging through the checklist and everything. And you guys might remember the Pristine Patches insert set. Pretty much the only stuff in the product that is a patch card. A lot of the rest of it's jerseys. There are some sticks, but these are the only like really patch cards in the product. So to me, it's like that's kind of the potential for the best type of thing. And then, obviously, like everything, there are refractive parallels of everything in the product. So wheels got turning, like I said, started looking around and came across this beauty, and it was a high price. But I was like, okay, given I just sold a box, I don't mind taking some of that funding to buy this card, knowing that this is like one of the best cards in the product. So, in that sense, very much kind of like a spontaneous, yet still very calculated and planned addition, if that makes sense. But it's a very cool card, very beautiful card. Again, Aaron doesn't know what this is, but obviously, giving some context here, it is one of the 0304 Topps Pristine Patches refractors and is numbered 6 out of 10 for the Colorado Avalanche, Patrick Waugh.
Ooh, no, that is awesome. That is super, super cool. Man, that is nice. Did not expect just to pick up on Wah. That is awesome. So, so cool.
And
Yeah, I think that
obviously,
was well worth it. And yeah, you got the four color there.
yes. Yeah,
Very nice.
I have seen one other copy, maybe even two other copies of this in my research that I believe were just two color patches. So
Mm.
obviously, then the four color copy was obviously also very appealing. And Aaron will judge me, but I'm very much a person that likes having stuff in the original holders. So having this in the original uncirculated case obviously was an added bonus. There was another one and still is another one available that is broken out of the case. But yeah, this was the one that I knew I wanted to have, and was able to work out a deal with the seller, and got the card pretty quickly. And yeah, it is just a killer card in person, one that pictures and scans just don't do justice for whatsoever. So just a beautiful card. And, like I said, definitely kind of a spontaneous type of thing, but hard to argue with it once you have something like this in hand, that's for sure.
Well, very nice either way. I mean, just so nice. And yeah, definitely well worth it for sure, especially after, the box sale. Amazing.
So that'll do it for my pickups. So we are going to transition into the main topic for the episode, that being 2022-23 Upper Deck Tim Hortons. So Aaron, I'm going to turn the floor over to you and you can take us through a little bit of a review of the product.
Yeah, so this is gonna be fun. 2022-2023 Upper Deck Tim Hortons Collector Series. Just gonna go through a little bit of what is new with the product, what's old. It's pretty similar to the other years if you've been familiar with the product. It released October 3rd. The common inserts that are returning are the red die cuts, gold etchings, and superstar showcase cards. Some of the new inserts are the hockey triumphs, in motion phenoms, spectrum standouts, and the flow of time cards, which are really cool. They're really cool because we've seen this concept a little bit before, but not done quite like this, or at least not for a little while anyway, where it kind of shows the player's journey, from the start of their career to, present day. So really kind of neat idea for, an insert set, especially in a, product like this, which is going to, really be broken by the masses. So I can see adults, maybe who haven't, had a foot in the card industry a while, like getting a kick out of these cards, and also kids too. I think that's just a really cool insert set. As far as the hard stuff, like the autographs, just crazy, crazy odds on those. I think you were saying the McKinnon or Crosby cards, those autograph cards coming about like one in every over 200,000 packs. So something just nuts. The Gretzky tribute cards, which I have seen one out there, those are about one in 12,000 packs. And then you got your coffee and tea and donut prize cards, redemption cards, which are honestly probably the nicest looking redemption cards I've ever seen. If you hit any of those, you're probably better off selling it because I think a master set collector is probably gonna, take that off your hands for sure. But anyway, those fall in about around 750 packs. So we'll see if we hit any of those. So I have 20 packs here. Eric, wish me luck. I'm going to see if I can hit anything. I've never hit anything good, out of these, but hey, it's all about the fun, right? So we'll see what happens. And sorry if you hear the crinkly noises, but I guess that's all part of the experience.
Absolutely is. Yeah, I love the flow and time cards. I really hope you get either a Kane or a Taves because I would love to acquire that off your hands
Oh,
for
for
sure.
sure.
Yeah, and then this is something we've talked about in the past, so I don't want to, go into it super, in depth, but a product like Tim's every year is just such a great thing for the hobby in so many different ways, catering to pretty much everybody. So, it's a great initiative the Upper Deck does, and very happy to see it come back again this year. And hope you do well and get some sweet cards.
Definitely. I just want to give a quick shout out to the Tim Hortons in Orangeville, Ontario. Thank you guys for supplying these. I had to pay for it, so they didn't really supply me them, but they had some and I bought them. So shout out to them, I guess. Anyway, pack number one. Let's see what we get here. Man, I'm really hoping, I mean, the autograph would be awesome, but I kind of would love to hit one of those Gretzky tribute cards. I mean, they're really simple looking cards, but I think that stuff's really cool, a product printed like no tomorrow, available across the country. Getting a card like that would be just really cool. All right. Speaking of flow in time, first pack, we got a flow of time of Patrice Bergeron. So there we go. Awesome. Look at that, eh? Nice little rookie shot there and shot of him present day. So really nice cards. Not bad for pack number one. We also have a base card of Boone Jenner and Matt Zuccarello. Not bad at all for pack number one. So no Gretzky tribute, but hey, that's not bad for pack number one. Already just destroying the odds on that one. I think
Yeah,
those are in like 1 in 24 or something.
yep, 124 for the flow of time. So,
Okay.
yep, great start.
Awesome. Awesome. Very cool. And the hits are on the front now, which I think you alluded to before, but so you'll see the hit right when you open the pack, which is really cool. So awesome. Got a red die cut of Brady Kachuk. Awesome cards right there. Base card of Tyler Toffoli and Nick Suzuki. Very nice as well. The Sens are going to be, I think, a force in the next couple years. I think they're on their way up. And it pains me as a Leaf fan to say that, but I think it's true. All right, pack number 3. All right, we got a Superstar Showcase of Mitch Marner. They're very nice cards, actually. Nice. We got a base of Carter Hart and Evgeny Kuznetsov. Very nice as well. It's always cool in these releases. I mean, you're never really going to hit a bad name, when it comes to the inserts. I mean, like definitely some are better than others, but I mean, it's always cool to see, the big guys in here.
So as far as the, quote unquote attainable cards, are there any specific ones that you're hoping that you get?
Not really. I haven't really taken a deep dive at the checklist, but just really just any kind of goalie card would be cool. Very cool. So we got gold etchings of David Pastrnak. Very nice. These kind of remind me of the 14-15 masterpieces cards. Like obviously it has no art in it, but just the general design, the gold border looks very similar. So big fan of that. Awesome. We have a base card of Vasilevsky and Lafreniere. Look at that, eh? Very cool. Goalie card. Awesome. Vasilevsky. These base cards look really cool. So I'm a big fan of that. Might keep the Vasilevsky base at least. So that's not bad at all. All right, pack 4. All right, these are nice, eh? Spectrum Standouts. Nazem Kadri. Very nice. Oh yeah, look at that. Looks really nice, actually. And base of McAvoy and Lucas Raymond. Awesome. Yeah, Kadri. Look at that, eh? Newest member of the Calgary Flames. It's going to be interesting to see how he does this year. Right, we got the big guy here for the Montreal Canadiens, Cole Caulfield. Very nice. In motion phenoms. Look at that. Very cool. These cards are really nice this year. I'm really digging the designs every year. Like even though they're like a low end product, it's always just really cool to see, the time and Upper Deck puts into these designs. So, and obviously loaded with shiny stuff, for the kids and let's be honest, like it's for the adults too. And we have a base card of Cole Caulfield as well and Austin Matthews. This is very cool.
Yeah, I really like those Phenom cards. I think the design is just really cool, and they kind of have like almost like a shimmery 3D effect. It's
Yeah,
not
they
really,
do.
but it's really cool. Yeah, they
It
did a
is
nice
really
job with
cool.
those.
It reminds me of a set. Like I forget the name of them, but they came out with 0506 McDonald's cards, so they're very similar to those. We have I think you'll like this Superstar Showcase of Patrick Kane, and we have this one hurts so bad. We have a base card of Jack Campbell on Edmonton now, and Jonathan Huberdeau. So this is pretty much the base cards of guys who've been traded. You see that bunch with Tim Hortons sometimes. So yeah, I might keep that Campbell card too. Very cool. Have to see him go, but don't worry, we have Matt Murray, so I'm sure he'll be fine. I hope.
We'll see.
I'm sure he'll be okay this season. I really do. I think with our team's defense and which can let us down at times. I think all he has to be is just decent. All right, we have the other big guy. All right, Kale McCarr, red die cuts. Very nice. Those cards are always really, really sharp. So I really like how they do those every year. You have base of Kopitar and Timo Meyer. I guess a red die cut of Vasilevsky would be really cool as well.
Or perhaps Marc-Andre Fleury.
That is true. That is very true. See, I haven't even taken a look at the checklist in depth yet. So yeah, any Flurry from my collection would be nice. All right, we have a red die cut again. Miro Heiskanen and a base of Patrick Kane and Jake Ensel. This is a really cool card, actually. Hockey Triumphs. Steven Stamkos of him winning the cup. That's awesome. Second straight title. That is really nice. Base card of Shifley and Granlund. Okay. Yeah, that's really, really cool. For anyone who likes those Stanley Cup celebration cards. You have one right there. So very nice. I'm not sure if the triumphs are all like Stanley Cup wins, but
They kind of almost mimic the SP Authentic, like authentic moment cards.
right. I was gonna say like just some key moments.
Yeah.
Right. Speaking of, yeah, we have another hockey triumphs. Yeah, definitely not a cup win. Fiala, awesome. So we scored a really nice goal versus LA. So they caught that moment on a card. These are kind of like the SBA authentic moments. Base card of Brent Burns, and again, Miller Heiskanen. We're halfway now.
Not bad so far. I mean, the
Hoping for that autograph card or at least that,
true.
T redemption. I'm a big fan of T.
There you
Just
go.
had some on the pod. And yeah, I'm really hoping for one of those cards.
You're doing well so far, though. I mean, the Bergeron, the
Yeah,
Caulfield,
I mean,
those are
like I
nice.
enjoy. Yeah, my reds are pretty good. Speaking of a red, I got a Artemi Panarin red die cut. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And we got a base card of Jack Roslovic and David Pastrnak. All right. I can only imagine, and this has probably happened countless times with, McDonald's back in the day or Tim Hortons, but how many kids, threw away a redemption card, Just thought it was cardboard, just threw it away. You know what I mean? Or,
That'd be
the
really
parent
sad.
or something. Yeah. Just found it. Oh, it's probably a decoy or something and just threw it away. Probably happened so much. All right. For you Buffalo Sabres fans out there, we got a Spectrum standouts. Jack Quinn, the other Quinn. All right. We got a base card of a couple scrubs. Andrew Mangiapane and Cam Talbot. Very cool. Very cool. So, yeah, like probably one of the weakest, but that's all right. That's fine. Can't win them all, right? Can't
It's
win them
true.
all. Probably going to burn this pack afterwards. But anyway, put this back. But at least had a goalie card in it. That's all right.
It's true. That was the lone redeeming quality.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. On to the next pack. All right. Little better. Little better. Another Spectrum standouts. Nice. Elias Pettersson. Okay. I'll take that. Again, very cool card. It almost looks like little stars in the background there. So, and they dance, when you move the card around. Awesome. Awesome. I can't dance, but this card can. Tim Stutzel and Marc-Andre Fleury. This pack was awesome. Very cool. My first card of him as a wild. That is actually a really nice card. Nice. Love that. Keeping that.
Nice. Yeah, those
Maybe,
standout cards almost kind of remind me of like a colorless Dazzlers card.
yeah. No, that's really good. They do have like a silvery background to it. So yeah, no, but definitely a step down from the Dazzlers, I think, but not too far of a step down. Really nice cards though. I could definitely see people building a lot of these sets for sure. All right, here we go. Very nice. Superstar Showcase, Sidney Crosby. Always, always fun to hit the guy on the pack. These cards are just really nice. Big fan of that. I'm keeping that one. Sidney Crosby. My man, Sidney Crosby. Base cards of Darnell Nurse and John Klingberg. All right. Couple more packs to go. Come
Come on, donuts.
on, donut T cards. Let's go. Let's go. All right. This just keeps getting better and better. Red die cuts. Austin Matthews. My guy right there.
Very nice.
Probably going to keep that one. And another one. Oh, William Nylander, base card. And Steven Stamkos. Look at that, eh? Battle of the first round of the playoffs right there. Oh, that was just so sad. Anyway, I'll probably keep that Matthews, but that is a really nice card either way. I mean, can't go wrong with that. Austin Matthews. What a guy. 60 goal guy. Right down to the last couple packs here. Let's see what happens. It's been going up and up, I think, overall. So we'll see. Having a little trouble opening this pack for some reason. All right, red die cut. Mark Scheifele. Base card of Chris Letang and Elias Lindholm. Third last pack here. All right, Superstar Showcase of Brad Marchand. No bueno. Not a fan of this card. Base card of Brock Nelson and Roman Josie. Okay. Not a great pack for a Leafs fan, but I'm sure you Bruins fans will like that. Brad Marchand. Superstar Showcase. Second last pack. Getting down to the wire here. All right, pretty cool. Hockey triumphs. Alexander Ovechkin moves up the NHL all-time goal scoring list. Very nice card there.
Nice.
Celebrating after one of his cool goals. And base card of Kucherov and Jordan Binnington. Okay, goalie card. Very nice.
You've gotten pretty much all the big names
I
except
think so. I think
Mr.
so.
McDavid.
Yeah, that is true. He is missing from this. Don't worry, I got my last pack coming up. I'm sure he's just hiding in there. All right, last pack, 2022, 2023. Tim Hortons. Okay, let's do this. I'm hoping a coffee cup just jumps out of this pack. Not the redemption, like the actual coffee cup. We'll see, nothing yet. Ooh, I don't like this card. I do not like this at all. Cole Caulfield. Ooh, Hockey Triumphs. Cool card, but go Leafs go. That's been the final pack. Base card of Nico Hischier and PK Subban. Good career. Hopefully he enjoys retirement. But that's been it. 20 packs. I mean, overall, pretty good. Really fun rip. And yeah, well, better luck next time, I guess. I might have to buy one of those redemption cards online and, you know, have my free tea that way. But how do you think I did overall?
Yeah, I would say that's probably a pretty standard break. I mean, you got a flow in time, which is nice. You know, you're not guaranteed one out of 20 packs. So it's good that you did get one and that it was a decent name there for sure. The Caulfield Phenoms card was nice. Inserts of Crosby Ovechkin, can't go wrong. Got a, Flurry based card for your collection. Got, Vasilevsky Campbell for your collection. So, there were some notable cards there for sure. And, even though you might not have gotten anything like crazy amazing, I would still say that for 20 packs you did pretty well. I know those flow and time cards do sell fairly well. I would venture a guess that you could probably get like 15-20 bucks for that Bergeron on its own.
Nice. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Might have to, investigate that a little more. Yeah, overall, super fun. If you guys want a really fun rip, go to your local Tim Hortons. I swear this podcast was not sponsored by Tim Hortons, but go to your local Tim Hortons and pick up some packs. It's $1 with a beverage. And after that, the other packs are $1.99 each. So yeah, go to your local Tim Hortons, see what it's all about. And yeah, happy ripping.
Good stuff. Yeah, I don't think I have much more to add to that. I mean, like we said, it's a very fun product every single year. Upper Deck puts a lot of effort into making sure that the cards look really nice. I'm sure it would be really easy for them to just say this is a cheap product. We're just going to cheap out on it, whatever. But it's really nice to see all of the effort that goes into making sure that this is a really desirable product and is something that everyone under the sun can get behind and would be interested in. It's great to have something, another option for devoted adult collectors like us, but it's great to have a really fun and quality and cheap product that kids can get into and enjoy. And, like Aaron said, by kind of having smaller checklists, it ensures that you're getting a lot of those big names, especially in those inserts, a lot. So you don't have to open a ton of packs in order to get, cool cards of really notable players, which I think is, a great way to do a product like this. If you're a kid, of course, you're going to want to pull, insert of Crosby, Ovechkin, Matthews, McDavid, and you're probably going to be gravitated toward, those fun, shiny cards. So the fact that, even just in this break here, Aaron opened 20 packs and got, like we said, pretty much all of the big names except McDavid. Lots of shiny stuff. That Crosby showcase card is really sweet. And, I know if I was a kid and I pulled a card like that, like I'd be really excited. So yeah, just a really great product and a great initiative the Upper Deck does year in and year out. And I know it's one that both Aaron and I hope continues infinitely into the future. Just to hit on our contest one last time, this is probably the last time we'll promote it, and then we'll pick a winner here somewhat soon. But in case you guys have missed some of those recent episodes, we have opened up boxes of 21-22 Upper Deck Series 2, Extended Series, and AHL, all of which were compliments of Upper Deck. So as such, it's only fair to share some of those cards with you guys, our listeners. So what we'll do for the giveaway is pick one person to receive some of the cards from those aforementioned breaks. And all you have to do to be entered is share with us which card shown on episode 63 is your favorite and why. And that's an episode that, again, if you haven't been around lately, you want to watch that one on YouTube so you can see what's being talked about. So all you have to do is just tell us which card from that episode is your favorite and why. That's it. You can respond to the contest posts on our social media. You can just message us. You can tweet at us, whatever it might be. Just get a hold of us somehow with your answer, and you will be entered to win some of those cards from those breaks. So still got a little bit of time here to get in on that. So please go ahead and do that. Won't take long, and hopefully you can win some sweet stuff for free. So definitely be sure to do that. And yeah, that'll do it for episode 67. Again, this is an episode that we both look forward to every single year. Tim Hortons is just so much fun. So always a good time going through this product and opening up some packs. So that'll do it for this episode. But as always, please be sure to follow us on social media. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Center Ice Cardcast, and on Twitter at Center ICC. Please also be sure to subscribe to the show on your podcast platform of choice to make sure you never miss a future episode. Until next time on Center Ice Cardcast, keep collecting those hockey cards.